I want to say hi to the peoples. I know. I know. I know. Yes. Yes. Such a camera hog. Okay. Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather and this is the happenings with H.A.P. H.A.P. meaning my initials. So today I figured it'd be really fun, kind of how we did the booktube newbie tag a little while ago, if we did a movie tuber tag. That doesn't actually exist, but there is a movie tag that is floating around on YouTube, and I will have the link to the original video below. And this seems like a fun thing to do. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Question number 1 is favorite movie of all time. As a movie fan, this question is my least favorite because I love so many movies. So I had to really think about this one, and I actually landed on Star Wars: A New Hope. Now, I will say, it is not my favorite of the original Star Wars trilogy. That would be Empire Strikes Back. However, without the first one, we would not have the brilliance of the entire saga. The most recent time I saw it in the theater was when New York Philharmonic played the score live to the film. If anywhere you live ever has your own state or city philharmonic or orchestra playing the score to this film live, I recommend you go. I went on opening night and it was probably the closest I will ever get to seeing the original films in such a way where the fanfare is so much present, and it literally felt like a midnight opening of, like, you know, Harry Potter. It was surreal. And hearing that score live, I will not lie that I actually cried. There's still so much to love about it. It has aged amazingly well. The practical effects that were used are still holding up to this day and still look amazing. And you honestly cannot beat the trio of Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, R.I.P. Carrie Fisher, and just how amazing those three characters were. I think we can all agree, film fans, George Lucas is not the best director in the world. He's also not the best at writing dialogue. But for some reason, those three made that film work. And I think if it wasn't for their chemistry, the film would not probably have done as well as it did. It is the classic hero's quest story of the young hero meets the old wizard and finds out that he is the one to save the world. And you can't get better than that. I go back to it again and again, and it's a classic for a reason. Favorite scene of that movie? I'm kind of going back to how I answered the other question. John Williams' score for the Star Wars series is iconic. And in my opinion, John Williams is not only the greatest composer alive right now, he's the greatest film composer that ever lived. I mean, you have Star Wars, you have E.T., you have Jaws, Jurassic Park, H.A.P, Harry Potter. He created all these iconic themes. His career is absolutely unprecedented. So going back, my favorite scene in Star Wars: A New Hope would be right after Luke is told by his Uncle Owen that he is not allowed to join the Academy. He goes outside, and it's that iconic image of him outside on his farm, and he's watching the setting dual suns of Tatooine, and it's the first time we really hear the Force theme, which is what it's called. It's usually associated with Luke, and just the music swelling, and it's such an amazing scene. Favorite actors and actresses. So I have the top 3. 2 favorite film actresses would be Kate Winslet and Cate Blanchett. As an actress, I look at their careers and just am flabbergasted. I became a fan of Kate Winslet when Titanic hit, have seen many of her films, and there's nothing that woman can't do. She is so, not even like gorgeous, but amazingly talented. And then you have Cate Blanchett, who I actually got introduced to in The Talented Mr. Ripley. I saw that before I even saw Elizabeth or The Lord of the Rings. She's just iconic. I actually got to see her in a play live. It was unfortunately not A Streetcar Named Desire. It was The Maids. But to see her live, and she's just as electric as she is on screen. So those will definitely be my 2 actresses. Favorite actor, hands down, and this is decades long now, would be Gary Oldman. He is, there's just something about his acting that is, he can be so over the top. The Fifth Element would be a great example of that. He can be so dig into a role and be so real, like in JFK or Sid and Nancy. He can be very understated. My favorite scene actually of his would be in Immortal Beloved. He plays Beethoven, and it's a scene where he's composing the Moonlight Sonata, and I feel like he covers his hands with part of the piano topper, and he just kind of lays his head on it as he's playing, so as Beethoven he could hear the vibrations, and he doesn't say a word in the scene, and it blows my mind. I've always appreciated actors that could translate so much in silence, and it's definitely something I've worked on myself, where you're so embodied in a character that you don't need to speak. You just need to be. And there's not really many ways I can describe it, but hands down, favorite actor of all time. Most annoying actor or actress. I thought long about this. The one that keeps popping to mind is Kristen Stewart, and I think the most annoying thing about her is I don't see the hype with her acting. I never have. In my opinion, you can watch Adventureland, The Twilight Saga, Snow White, probably that new Charlie's Angels, I haven't seen it, and she just seems like she plays the same type of a character. She has tics. I think that's probably why she bothers me so much, is that she's never able to physically inhabit a character. She has the same tics of the hair pulling and the open mouth stare that she does. Like, it's these same characterizations that she does in every single role because they're her own characterizations. I mean, we all have our own things that we do all the time, but your job is kind of supposed to suppress that and become the person you're playing. And I think that's probably why I have the biggest problem with her, because so many people praise her acting, and I've seen many different movies she's been in, and I've just never been impressed. Like, she can play what she plays well, but with the type of career she's had, I've never understood it. I don't know. Favorite director. My all-time classic favorites would definitely be Steven Spielberg, who directed my childhood. Who did not watch a Steven Spielberg film when they were a child? Another would definitely be Tim Burton, whose aesthetic I have loved since I was a kid. One of my favorite movies when I was a child was Batman Returns. I don't know why, but I've always loved his aesthetic. Definitely loved him. As for newer favorites, Guillermo del Toro, Pan's Labyrinth, I absolutely loved. I was giddy when he won the Oscar for The Shape of Water. I loved that movie. I know a lot of people didn't. I loved it. I don't care. Taika Waititi is a genius. So funny. Love his films. I love him. If you've ever watched any of his interviews, he's just a gem. Ugh, adore him. And lastly, Bong Joon-ho. I've not seen many of his films. I've seen Parasite and Snowpiercer. Parasite was just like a revelation, and I was screaming in my room when it won all the awards for the Oscars this past year. So those would definitely be my favorites at the moment. Favorite guilty pleasure film? The Twilight Saga. I hate to say it. It's totally a guilty pleasure. But if it's on TV, I'm gonna watch it. For an adaptation of a book series, it's actually fantastic. Like, it's really well done. But it's so ridiculous, and it's so over the top. And it's not the best films ever made, but yet, I don't know, it hits something in my heart when I watch it. So that would definitely be my favorite guilty pleasure film. Favorite tearjerker. Basically any Pixar film. The amount of times that studio has made me cry in a movie theater by myself is ridiculous. The most recent one would be Coco. I was in a matinee showing of that, 3D showing, so I had my glasses on. And during the Remember Me sequence, I literally had tears running down my face while wearing those 3D glasses and just bawling by myself in a movie theater. It's every time I see a film that's gonna be made by Pixar, I just have to get my soul ready to watch it because they get me every time. Movie you love that everyone hates. I had to think about this for a bit because I wanted to kind of pick something that's a bit more obscure, but what I came up with was a movie I freaking loved and actually had damn action figures of when I was a child. I don't know why. It was the 90s, but that would be Waterworld. As a dystopian film, it's pretty good. There was the whole saga with when it came out. It was pretty much like a meh movie, but it was so over budget. And then you have Kevin Costner, and it was like kind of a mess, but it works. And I don't know why I loved it so much as a child. Like I said, I actually had action figures of this freaking movie. I don't know. I really enjoy it though. It's honestly been a couple of years since I've seen it, but it's really good. And if you've never seen it or you haven't seen it since it came out, maybe give it a rewatch because you might surprise yourself. Movie you hate that everyone loves. So I wanted to choose something more recent, and what I ended up picking was Uncut Gems. I had a lot of hype going into it because I had so many of my friends tell me how much they loved it and that I would definitely love it and it'd be my thing. And while I could appreciate the script and how it was shot, the acting in it, all of them are top tier. Like, there is no reason I don't like it, but I just don't like it. Like, I think the main character, just there's nothing redeeming about him. Like, I just don't care. And if you see my other videos, it's like I have to care about what's going on, otherwise it's just not for me. And while this ticked a lot of artistic boxes for me, I just didn't like it. It was not a very entertaining movie experience for me, unfortunately. Favorite animated movie? That would be Beauty and the Beast. I was obsessed with that film. I'm still obsessed with that film. I've literally acted out that film as a child more times than I care to remember. It was the first Disney film that I really became obsessed with. I had seen Little Mermaid. I was obsessed with that too, but this one I was, it was a couple years later, so I was a few years older. Plus Belle loved to read, and that was me as a kid, so I was like, that was me. So Belle was me. That's what I wanted that to be. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast, for sure. Actor or actress crush. So I have a lot because there are a lot of beautiful people in showbiz. My OGs are obviously going to be Paul Rudd, and that's since Clueless. We got Jude Law, Ewan McGregor, Henry Cavill. I've liked Henry Cavill since The Tudors. James McAvoy. Tom Hardy is just, yeah. My newest ones would have to be Taron Egerton. I really loved him in Kingsman. And then, of course, he blew everyone away as Elton John in Rocket Man. The next one would definitely be Penn Badgley, and that's because of you. And I don't know how that makes me feel, but it's what it is. And I'm not going to leave out the girls because I do have some girl crushes. Anna Kendrick is just freaking adorable, and I love her vibe and her personality. Tessa Thompson is freaking bae. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And then Amelia Clark, who is just, there's something about her. She's beautiful. Her personality is sweet. Basically, I want to be all these women's friends because they're gorgeous, but I also just love their personalities. But definitely beautiful. Definitely have a crush on all of them. Favorite movie villain. So this would be Gary Oldman as Norman Stansfield in Leon the Professional. If you've not seen that movie, I highly recommend. That was Natalie Portman's first film. And Gary Oldman's character Norman is absolutely batshit insane. He kind of straddles the line between chewing the scenery and just being real psychotic. There's so many amazing moments in that film of him just kind of being out there, but as crazy as the character is, because he is crazy, his scenes with Natalie are just so chilling, and the things he does to her family in that film are absolutely terrible. He's just a horrible villain, but he's so amazing at it. And I feel like anyone that's a fan of Gary Oldman, this is a film and this is a role that people will tell you to see because you have to. And aside from that, the film is wonderful. Definitely recommend that film. And if you want to know my love for Gary Oldman, that is definitely a start of it, for sure. What movie surprised you the most? The most recent one would have to be Pitch Perfect. I had avoided it because I think I had kind of gotten burned out on the live singing thing because of Glee back in the day. And I just kind of thought it was like a chick flick, and I'm really not a chick flick type of person. But it was on Freeform literally, I want to say 2 weeks ago. And I watched it and I was like, damn, this is good. The singing's good, the songs are fun, and the plot was actually really good. I was very surprised and I had a damn good time. I was shocked by actually how much I enjoyed it. So bravo for that, because that came out of nowhere for me and I really liked it. One remake you wish had never been made. So I've yet to see this one, which is probably why it's a good pick for this question. And that would be the live action Disney Lion King. The animation for this live action film looks wonderful. I had issues with a lot of the casting. I've heard some of the voice work. I don't think I've not listened to any of the songs or any of the new songs for it, but The Lion King is a fucking masterpiece of a film, and I think that this didn't need to happen. And I don't know, some of the live action Disney stuff is pretty good. On the whole, it's just basically cashing in on people my age for our nostalgia, and I don't really like it. Unless you're gonna do something different, like Maleficent was a really great live action that twisted that story really well and made it new and different. And even the live action Cinderella was really well done because it was different. These other ones I haven't been loving that much, or all like bits and pieces of them, but it's still kind of like, why? So yeah. You're about to die and can only watch one more movie. What would it be? I was gonna answer like the favorite movie of all time thing, but then I was like, I wanna watch a movie I haven't seen in a while that I really love, and my pick went with Moulin Rouge, which in my opinion is one of the greatest movie musicals of all time. I don't care what anybody says. It is fun. The songs are amazing, including the ones that were written for the film. You have Hugh McGregor singing your song, and I don't know how much you can really top that. The Roxanne Tango, the Elephant Love medley, like there's so many things in that film. It was kind of the start of these movie musical things that happened in the early 2000s, and it's, my opinion, still one of the best ones. So that would be the one I'd want to watch. Favorite movie genre and favorite movie from that genre. So I couldn't pick one genre, so I decided to just list a bunch of genres with my favorite movie in that genre, because that still answers the question and it lets me list more movies that I love. Favorite comedy would be Shaun of the Dead. Favorite movie musical, Moulin Rouge. Favorite sci-fi film would be Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Favorite romantic comedy would be The Holiday. Holiday favorite would be Home Alone. Favorite silent film, The Hallonger by Alfred Hitchcock. Favorite chick flick would be Titanic. Favorite thriller, Seven. Favorite action film, Terminator 2. Favorite drama, The Godfather Part 2. Favorite fantasy, Pan's Labyrinth. Favorite horror, The Exorcist. What's the first movie you remember watching in theaters? That would have to be Beauty and the Beast, which I remember seeing 3 times in the movie theater. I remember that they still had the radio type of playing. It was like a movie radio playing. They didn't have the fancy graphics and commercials that they do now. It was a much different time. But yes, I saw Beauty and the Beast 3 times in the theater when I was a kid. And that's it. That's the tag. So I hope you guys learned a bit more about my movie tastes. If you have any recommendations for things, let me know. Let me know some of your favorites down below. And I tag anybody that watches this video if they want to make it for their own channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Question number 1 is favorite. Bleh. Question number 1. Oh my God, for sure. Bleh. Favorite drama. Bleh.